Welcome to the Blindside Podcast, episode number 4. I'm DK, and I'm here with the BSD Commissioner, as always. Johnny, how you doing tonight, buddy?
I'm doing absolutely incredible, DK. How are you doing tonight?
Man, I'm doing wonderful. I'm glad to have you on tonight. Tonight, we're going to be talking about things going around the BSD. We got team selection, and we got a couple things at the end that our commission is going to go over that we're trying to change around here. But before we get all into that, we're going to throw a shout out to our sponsor, Madden Football Radio. You can follow them on Twitter at BRM Podcast, and you can follow them on YouTube at BRM Gaming and Podcast. So, to start this off, we're going to start with a 2-minute drill. Are you ready?
Oh, yeah, let's do it.
All right. Getting the clock set. And go. Would you ever go with any other team in Madden other than the Cincinnati Bengals?
I am a diehard Cincinnati Bengals fan, so I am going to absolutely tell you absolutely not.
I can dig that. So, other than the Bengals, who would be your secondary team if you had to pick a second team?
My secondary team would probably be the Raiders. I love the Raiders and how young they are, and they don't really need too much to build up to make them a contender.
If you could trade for one player in Madden, who would it be?
One player in Madden I could trade for. Man, that's a tough one.
It's a 2-minute drill, not the 1-minute drill, buddy.
I'm gonna go short term Tom Brady.
Tom Brady. Ooh, no speed, but can throw. Probably retire after 2 seasons.
All right.
If you had to get rid of one player on your team, who would it be?
Oh, one player get rid of on my team. Pac-Man Jones. He is so old.
But Pac-Man Jones is still decent, though. What are you looking for the most for Madden 18?
I'm looking forward to this division that we got going. We got a tough division coming up.
All right, and that does it for the 2-minute drill. You are off the hot seat, my friend.
Woo.
So, we did a BSD team selection recently. And the way we're going to be doing it is that the team that we picked, we're going to be using them for Madden 18, but we're also doing a season finale with the team we picked to try to change things up a little bit. And it's been a huge hit in our league. Tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, so pretty much we had our old Steelers user, new Bucks user. He has this lottery software. So pretty much what it is you put everybody's name into this lottery. We gave our admins and our OGs the least amount of balls and everybody else the same amount of balls because we were doing it in reverse order, meaning the 32nd pick would be the one that comes out first, and the first pick would be the one that comes out last. So we're pretty much picking our teams based on that, and wherever you fall and wherever you land, you draft your team. That's a team that you're going to carry over into Madden 18.
All right, so let's start this off with who do you think was the best pick for team selection?
All right, my best pick is going to be actually I think it's going to be one of my admin, and I'm going to go with Rue. He was our former Rams user. I honestly think he picked the Raiders over his home team, Giants, because he knew that his kryptonite rival, Nadeal, which is our former Dolphins user, was going to end up with his home team, which is the Chiefs.
All right, for me, my best pick was New Deal with the Chiefs. He had pick 24. I don't know how the Chiefs fell that far, but he wanted this team, and they lasted. They have a solid all-around defense, and then they drafted Patrick Mahomes, so that gives them a quarterback for the future, so they have a good opportunity to build upon that. Going on to the next question, who do you think was the worst pick out of the team selection?
Honestly, I thought that this team that I'm about to say was going to be the last pick off the board. Do you have an idea what that team might be?
It's probably the same team that I picked. I'm very curious to see.
All right, well, I'm going to go out and say it. I'm going to say the Jets. And that's really with a question mark. Surprisingly, they weren't the last team taken off the board, and they were picked with the 26th pick. And the Lions, Bills, Broncos, and Packers and Rams were still left. The roster is probably the worst in the league to start, given offseason moves that this team has made in real life. In the process, they probably freed up the most cap. So they got the worst team, but I think they got the most cap. I'm thinking maybe this coach is his grand scheme is to build off free agency. What do you think?
Well, for me, I picked the Niners. They were picked at 13. You had teams like the Texans, Titans, the Chargers, the Vikings, and the Cardinals like still available, and he decided to go with the Niners. I think he was a little bit upset with me because I picked his favorite team in the Falcons at number 4, but that's kind of who I want to run with. But the upside for this team is that they have plenty of cap space, and they can have a huge overhaul of this roster through free agency trade. So I picked the Niners going 13 overall, being the worst pick.
That's a good pick.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. So going to the surprise pick, who do you have for that?
All right, man. I know I'm tooting the horn here, but I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna go with Rue and the Raiders again. I would think this coach would want to stay as far away from his rival as he could. Together, him and Nadil, they account for 6 Super Bowl appearances, if I'm not mistaken. Collectively, they have 3 of our 8 Super Bowl trophies from last Madden.
Wow. See, I knew we were good friends, man, because my surprise pick, too, was Rue with the Raiders at number 7. I mean, we all knew that Rue was going to go choose his favorite team in the Giants, but he surprised everybody by taking the Raiders. The Raiders are talented on both sides of the ball, and I think with his stick skills, he's going to bring the Raiders close or a championship again. So we'll have to see how Rue and the deal like fight off in that conference. I mean, what a conference that's going to be, huh?
Oh yeah, the conference, the division, it's going to be a dogfight.
So going into that, let's caveat to the next thing. Who do you think is going to be the best division?
All right, my best division pick. It's a tough one between the AFC West and the AFC North. I think I'm gonna go with the North on this one. 3 of the coaches in the North, the AFC North, that is, they're constantly in the playoffs. I wouldn't be surprised if the division came down to the last game, season in and season out.
So it kind of reminds you of like the NFC West whenever it was 3 teams fighting for the last playoff positions, and they'll have 2 teams in the wild card, and then they'll have a first round bye guy. So that's very intriguing. I like that pick. I actually went with the AFC West with the Rue and the deal. I mean, they're in the same division. They're going to be fighting for a high seed in the AFC. I mean, but flying for 2, who's the Chargers, and Crush, who's the Broncos, aren't any pushovers. But I think the top heaviness of the AFC West is going to make them the best division. But that's coming from Madden 17. I mean, we don't know what Madden 18 has to offer. We don't know who's going to spring up or fall down. So I guess we just have to wait and see. But this is why we do predictions, right?
Exactly. These are bold predictions that we're putting out right now.
Oh, yeah. You know we're going to hear it in the chat. You know we are. We always hear something from the chat. What about my team? What about my pick? What about me? Well, it ain't always about you guys.
I'm an underdog. I'm a sleeper. Yeah.
Well, we'll see who's going to be the sleeper. That's for sure. So with that being said, what's the best conference in your opinion?
The best conference.
There's only 2, bro.
I know. I'm just trying to generally think of the teams that are in the conferences and what I think. Well, shit. Since we went that way, we're gonna go AFC because it was a tough decision when I chose divisions between the West. Or I'm sorry, not the West. The North.
The North and the West.
And the West, yeah. The North and the West. Yeah, that's right. Wait, North and West. So I'm just going to go AFC.
Well, I mean, a lot of the firepower from the NFC moved over to the AFC. So, I mean, I have to give it to the AFC. I mean, you had, Rue that was over there. And then you had, who's the Bears user again? What is it? Is it Bigfoot?
The old Bears user or the new one?
The old Bears user.
The old Bears user is Big Fella Sock.
Yeah, Big Fella.
Actually is the Steelers.
I know, in your conference.
In the AFC North.
I know. So he leaves my conference. I had the Vikings in the last Madden 17, and he owned me. I didn't beat him one time, so I'm happy to see him leave and go over there and try to own you over there.
I'm looking forward to it, man. Competition, man. I know it ain't gonna be easy this year. Not that it was any easier last year, but this year is just gonna be especially tough for the AFC North because we brought over Big Sip from the West from last Madden. It was one of those 3 guys that we were speaking of earlier, man. Mm-hmm. Oh man, AFC North is gonna be a battle.
It's going to be a beast out there. What's so interesting, though, I'm going to put it out there right now. Hey, the Cardinals user, I need him to come over to the NFC South. There's been a lot of talk in the chat about people switching teams and stuff, and you have until Madden 18 comes out and we start the league to change your team. So I'm hoping he comes over to my conference. I would love to have the competition of him in my conference. So moving on to the most overrated team. Who you got, Johnny?
Most overrated team. I'm gonna go with the Patriots. I'm gonna say the Patriots because I think they are good for the short term. Only because of the age of the team. The team is getting pretty old. I think they just lack the youth to be top contender from start to finish. You're really gonna have to build your team through free agency and draft, in my opinion.
For me, and this might be a shocker to some people, but I chose the Seahawks. They have a really good defense, but their defense is getting really old. We play 8 to 9 seasons, so rebuilding is key in our league. And whoever has Seattle, I think that's Kev that has Seattle, he's going to have to do a good job of drafting and bringing in free agents and bringing in youth. Hopefully, for his sake, that regression has been fixed somewhat, and 28 isn't the age where you start getting rid of everybody. And if that's the case, he has a real good shot of having a good, solid team and a good, solid foundation. But other than that, their offensive line is horrible. They have solid receivers, but they're small. And then Russell Wilson is probably the main spotlight on offense. I mean, you also have Jimmy Graham, but he's old. So, I mean, they're aging over there in Seattle. So that's who I choose. Now
that's a pretty good pick, DK. I didn't think about that. That's a good pick.
Well, thank you. You know how we do. We play long, we play hard, and we play strong. So, I mean, you got to have a team with some youth if you want to have like a solid foundation. You know, it's like building a house. You got to have that foundation before you put all the pretty stuff on it. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Yes, sir. Going over to the most underrated team, who'd you have?
For 2018, I'm gonna go with the Bucks roster. This Bucks team is young, and I personally don't think they need many more pieces other than corners, maybe a running back. I mean, maybe a little bit of offensive line. But other than that, I mean, they have all the pieces in place, in my opinion, to be a consistent contender year in, year out. You know, every Sunday, every game. I gotta say that's gotta be my most underrated team.
No, I like that pick, and I considered picking the Bucks in team selection. But the most underrated team, in my opinion, and it's going to be a team that I wanted if I didn't have such a high pick, and I still am intrigued by them and might want to trade to get them, and that is the Chargers. Other than Phillip Rivers, this team is set up for success for the long haul. They are young and talented at every skill position on offense. Melvin Gordon at running back. You got Mike Williams at receiver. Keenan Allen. They still have an older Antonio Gates, but Hunter Henry is going to follow him up, and he's young. The only thing that I say a downside to the offense is the offensive line. It's a little suspect, but I feel like you can build on that, and you can bring offensive linemen in. On defense, they're going to be able to get to the passer. You got Joey Bosa, you got Melvin Ingram, you got Jeremiah Achachu. So, I mean, you have an opportunity to get to the quarterback and pass rush, and the secondary is athletic enough to stay with anybody's receivers and tight ends. So, I would pick the Chargers as my most underrated.
Hey, DK, I got a quick question for you, man.
What's up?
What do you think Keenan Allen's injury rating is going to be in Madden this year?
I want to say 0, but that's just disrespectful. And it's funny because I went to the Chiefs and Chargers opening game last year in Kansas City. I live in Omaha, Nebraska, so I went to the game. And in the second quarter, guess who was hurt already?
Let me guess. Can I guess? Pick me.
Go!
Keenan Allen.
It was Keenan Allen.
Oh, yes.
The guy can't stay healthy for anything. Now, the first year he came into the league, he did very well. He was able to stay somewhat healthy, but since then, he's just been a dump. So if I had to pick an injury rating to be respectful, I'll say a 68.
68. That's not very good.
Not at all. I mean, anytime you get hit stick by anybody, he's going to get hurt. So he's just an accident waiting to happen in my Stephen A voice.
You're gonna have to use all that XP for his injury rating. That sounds like.
And it's crazy because this Madden, for Madden 17, the injury ratings cost a lot of money to build up, and so was stamina. It's unreal how much XP that costs.
Absolutely. Okay, I can agree there, man. Yeah, some stats in this Madden are super easy. Like in my opinion, I think speed is a little too easy to build, and then like other attributes are just too hard to build. So you gotta find that medium somewhere in there.
Well, good thing about our league, we cannot raise the speed attributes, so no worries about that. No speed hoarding over here. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Hey, because I look at it this way, you're not gonna get much faster as you get older. That's
Not at
all I
all.
can say about it.
Unless you have John Ross Bengals.
But he's not gonna get faster.
He's 98 speed. I mean, how much faster does he need to get?
I mean, even if I wanted to increase it, I couldn't.
Well, just let you know, you got to talk to the Falcons about bringing John Ross over there to tag team with Julio Jones. Just letting you know.
Man, you have to give up the farm.
Oh well, I'll give up a pig and a horse, and you can give me the 40 acres and a mule. How about that?
I want a cow too.
With that being said, that's going to be the end of how our team selection went down and our thoughts about it. In closing, I just want to kind of throw it over to Johnny and let him talk about, what we have coming on as far as our development league and some of the rule changes.
Yeah, so anybody listening to this podcast, we are going to start a developmental league up. We're actually looking for players right now. If you're interested, you guys need to go on Twitter, follow us on Twitter, send me a message. The Twitter handle is at Blindside CFM. If you are interested in joining Blindside at any point, because what we're going to do is we're going to fill up this developmental league. We're going to get your favorite teams. When you guys join this developmental league, and if your team comes open and that happens to be your favorite team and you've been there the longest, that's your team. That's the team you're going to get. So that being said, if you guys are looking to join the Blindside Dynasty, do not hesitate to go on our Twitter and hit me up. We are trying to fill it up.
And what about the rules?
Actually, our rules, we are gonna very soon here. I'm going to have a couple suggestions from guys throughout the year. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna bring all the issues and all the possible rule changes, because I know there's a lot of things that people want to see change, and we're a league that's all about collective. We're all about collectiveness. So I don't go around. I don't just go making rules up. We get everybody involved as much as we possibly can. So pretty much everything comes down to a vote in the league, unless it's something just so off the wall crazy that I have to make an executive decision, which I have no problem doing that depending on the circumstances. Yeah, we're gonna do our rule changes. So there's gonna be a couple rules that people are gonna bring up. We're gonna put them into the chat, and everybody is gonna vote on them. So majority vote wins. Guys listening right now, if you're in the league already, your voice needs to be heard, because we don't want to hear any complaining about any kind of rule when we bring it up and people don't contribute to it. So if you have an issue with a rule, if you have an issue with why somebody's bringing up a new rule or whatever, just come in the chat. Like I said, I'm going to tag everybody. I'm going to text everybody like I always do. And we'll have a group discussion together collectively as an entire league. And we will discuss anything that you guys have as far as rule changes go. And we will change rules accordingly based on how voting goes.
See, that's what you got to love about this league. It's a democracy. We're all in this together. And it's just a great league. So, like you said, make sure y'all hit them up on Twitter. If you want to get in. We're full at the moment. We got some people on the waiting list, but we want to build a whole new developmental league to bring people in and already have people ready to go. So, with that being said, I am DK. That is Johnny. Thank you for listening to our podcast. Make sure you stay and watch the hype video that we created for Madden 18. We really appreciate you guys listening. And until next time, we will see you later.
Subscribe.
Subscribe. Oh, and comment and like and like this. And if you have anything you want to throw in there or anything like that, we'd be more than willing to respond. Oh, and we're gonna have a special guest next week on the podcast. I'm not gonna tell you who it is, But
I don't even know who it is.
I know. I've been talking to somebody to bring on here. Exactly. We're about to have a third person.
I don't even know who it is. That's just crazy.
Well, I've been talking to somebody, and we're going to start bringing on special guests so we can just start spicing it up a little bit and get a little bit more
that's what
opinion.
I'm talking about.
Yes, sir. So until next time, thank you for listening to the Blindside Podcast. We're Chuck and the Deuce, and we'll see you later.